Good morning, everyone. Welcome to an additional session with our most respected Swami Lakshmi Narayanji. Thank you for joining us today for the webinar session on topic Stress Management Session 2. It's my honor to introduce Swami Lakshmi Narayanji, our guest speaker from Vedanta Academy. Swami Lakshmi Narayanji is a senior disciple of Swami Parthaji, and he organizes public lectures and seminars on various topics related to the philosophy of Vedanta. For first 45 minutes, Swamiji will share his wisdom on the topic, and next 15 minutes have been kept for a question and answer session. If you have any query during the presentation, you may connect with Swamiji during question and answer session itself. Your mic is on mute during the entire session. You will be allowed to talk during the question and answer sessions only. Now handing over to Swamiji.
Thank you, Aditi, and good morning to all of you. So before we get on with the second session, I would like to just go through what we discussed last week. So the first thing we discussed was stress. What is stress? Stress is our reaction. Psychological. Can you hear me? I think somebody was talking in between, so kindly mute your mics, please. So what is stress? Stress is our reaction at the psychological and physical level to a challenge or stimuli from the outside world. So it's a reaction. So is this reaction good or bad? Why it is? And all that we need to understand. If you really want to have any control or want to manage anything, you need to bring about more understanding about the thing that you want to really manage. So what is stress and how do you understand stress? So science says stress is helpful for our survival. Our mind and body prepares to fight or flee from the challenge to survive only, isn't it? When there is a challenge confronting us, immediately in our body, cortisol and adrenaline and all that secretes so that we can fight the challenge or flee from the challenge. It is for our protection. It is for our survival. So it's a good thing. It is not bad. So therefore, in the beginning, when it is for our good, it is called eustress. There are two types of stress. One is called eustress, which is good. So even in the organizations, most of the time you would like to be in our comfort zone. So what do the leaders do? What do the managers do? They give us little targets slightly over and above our capacity. If it's too much beyond, then it's also not possible. But if it's slightly beyond your capacity, if you're pushed a little bit more than your comfort zone, then there is stress. That stress is good for you. So what happens is immediately your body chemical starts working, your mind starts working, and you'll start trying to achieve that target. So that's called eustress. That's good. But when we don't handle this properly and we constantly allow ourselves to be completely disturbed by this, that is called distress. That is not good. And in fact, a lot of people, what they do is they constantly, go through these kind of stress situations and they allow themselves to be completely soaked in stress chemicals for long months or years together. They mentally keep ruminating over the things that happened in the past, or they get unnecessarily anxious about what is happening in the future, and all that happens. So therefore, that is not good. So that is what we are going to learn, how to manage stress first. So how we will do it is totally we'll have 4 sessions. One I did last week. Today is the second one. Next week and next to next week, we'll have the 3rd and 4th session. So what we will do is in 3 sessions, we will try to talk about managing stress. And then the 4th session, we will go a little deeper into eliminating stress. If at all you want to eliminate stress, what you should do, that we'll talk about. So eustress is good for you. Distress is dangerous. It destroys you. So what are the effects of distress? It affects your immunity. It affects memory and thinking. It affects productivity. It affects relationships. You can't sleep properly. It affects your digestive system. It affects your reproductive system. It completely destroys you basically. And that's why they say, many diseases, they say the root cause is stress. Root cause is stress. But actually the stress is there in the system because it is helpful. We all of us have come necessarily from the jungle. The cells have come from the jungle. So when you are in the jungle for survival, you need these chemicals. Today also we are in jungle. The only difference is that is natural jungle. This is, you know, what human beings have made. That's the only thing. It's just concrete jungle that we are today in. So what happens is whenever there is any challenge that pushes us from our comfort zone, immediately these stress chemicals start secreting for our good. But when we do not know how to manage, then we get into distress, and that is the danger. That is what we discussed last week. And then therefore the next question is the stress external or internal? So to answer this question, we need to understand what is external. External means world. What is the nature of the world? The nature of the world is uncertainty, constantly changing, impermanent, perishing. The world that we are experiencing is certainly uncertain. The one thing that is constant is uncertainty. Right? You can't change it, I can't change it. Constantly changes. And this change is another name for the world. Morning dies, noon born. Noon dies, evening born. Evening dies, night born. Night dies, again morning born. In this constant chain of changes, a day is maintained. So world, when we say, is uncertain. Now the question is, does uncertainty cause stress? Meaning, will it take people to distress? See, uncertainty causing you stress is okay, so that you will start dealing with it, right? So that is what we did. So many inventions and discoveries that human beings have, come up with is because of this discomfort. So constantly we use our brain, and then we have come up with all these inventions and discoveries. So that eustress is good. But 90% of the people, or maybe more or less slightly, but basically what I'm trying to say is majority of people, they are in distress because of uncertainty, because of change, because of impermanence, because of perishing nature of the world. But actually, it has got nothing to do with the world, because like I said, another 10% of the people, they are not stressed by them. So it is not the world. So I gave another example. Cigarette being the same, one person gets joy out of it, another person gets agitation out of it. So you cannot blame the cigarette or praise the cigarette. There is neither joy nor sorrow in cigarette. It is just an object. For some people it gives pleasure, for some people it gives pain. So world being the same, for some it causes distress. For some it just causes eustress, so that they become more productive, more contribution they do. They become more successful and they keep on evolving. So you cannot blame the world for it. So what is the cause then? The cause is internal, it's not external. And I say internal means the individual personality. And if you actually go deeper, internal means the cause is your mind, your ego. So internal, within the personality, the inability to deal with the outside stimuli or challenge, or perception or belief that I am incapable of dealing. You may be capable of dealing, but you imagine or you believe that you are incapable of dealing. Then it's a problem. See, this belief is a very, very big thing. In the South Indian temples, when you go to South India, you go to the temples, and most of these temples have elephants there. Now, if you see, the elephant is chained in one feet, but the other end of the chain is not tied to the pillar. So now the elephant can easily walk and run away, but it will not walk and run away. It will just keep moving a little bit here and there, front and back, but it will not move away. Do you know why? Anybody? Does anyone know why? Who is answering?
Because from the beginning, it was trained like that only.
It was not trained. What happens is, when the elephant was a baby elephant, they tied it to the pillar and it tried to move. When it tried to move, it was not successful. So it obviously cannot, because the chain is tied to the pillar. So now what has happened is, in the elephant's mind, a belief system is formed. What belief system? That I will not be able to break the shackles. You got it? So the elephant's brain is now conditioned to believe that I will not be able to break the shackles. So therefore, what happens? Over a period of time, elephant stops trying. The elephant even doesn't try.
Yeah,
Because of the
that is.
belief system.
So that only I was trying to say, that his mind was trained in that manner only.
No,
Means he will not
now
be able
you are
to.
adding, now whoever it is, sir, you are adding few words. Okay, if you meant that, that's fine. What I'm trying to say is, trained means what? It is not trained to not run. It has got conditioned. It has been tied. And because of the conditioning, now the elephant is not even trying. This is what is happening to most of us. What is happening is, we have taken it for granted. A lot of us stop. Oh, he is very stressed here, heavily stressed. Why? He lost his job. And this has happened to his son. This has happened to his daughter. His relationship is bad. So, all these kind of reasons. Then you say, obviously, he'll be stressed. So what has happened is, over a period of time, we've come to take it as granted that when the situation goes tough, it is normal for us to be stressed. This kind of belief system we have made. Now, why do we say it's normal? Because majority of the people are stressed in such a situation, isn't it? But the truth is, we call ourselves as adults. Actually, we should question. Adult, you will become by default. You just somehow survive to live up to 18 years old, you will become an adult. But to become a mature individual, to become a human being, that's why we go to schools and colleges, to become a human being. Just because you are born as a human being doesn't mean we'll become a human being. We need to educate ourselves and strengthen our personality. When we strengthen our personality, when the difficult situation comes, we will not succumb to it. So then we will not say it is normal to be stressed. In fact, a normal human being would not be stressed when the difficult situation comes. This is what Sri Krishna is telling Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter. He says, Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupastitam anarya jushtam ashwargyam akirtikaram Arjuna. How on a situation like this, in a crisis situation like this, you have become like this, man? I just cannot believe this. So, therefore, first and foremost, what we need to understand is, stress is not external, it is internal. Because we have not strengthened our personality, we go through stress. So, then what happens is, first, we will accept that the problem is within me. When I understand that the problem is within me, then I will put in effort to strengthen my personality. That is what we are going to discuss now. No. So therefore, we need to understand about our human personality. What are we composed of? So a human being is composed of what is called as the foot sheath, the physical body, vital air sheath, the physiological functions, then mental sheath, the mind, intellectual sheath, the thinking faculty, then the bliss sheath, the subconscious vasanas or impressions. So if you see here in this diagram, I've given this. The self, your real nature, your real self is covered by 5 sheaths: bliss sheath, intellectual sheath, mental sheath, vital air sheath, foot sheath. Foot sheath is the gross and bliss is the subtlest. So compared to foot sheath, vital air sheath is subtler. Compared to vital air sheath, mental sheath is subtler. Compared to mental sheath, intellectual sheath is subtler. Compared to intellectual sheath, bliss is subtler. Compared to the bliss sheath, the subtlest is Atma, your true nature, your true self. You are that, but you are covered by all these layers. So we need to understand that a human being is nothing but body, mind, intellect plus self or Atma. You are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the intellect, but you are the Atma. So you are a combination of body, mind, intellect plus Atma put together. So now, through the body, you go through various perceptions and actions. The mind is made up of likes and dislikes, impulses, desires, feelings, emotions. Intellect is the ability to think, reason, judge, decide, analyze, etc. And self or Atma is only an enlivening factor, like petrol in a car. Petrol in a car simply fires the engine and it doesn't have any desire to fire or not to fire, isn't it? Without petrol, the car cannot move. And the performance of the car depends on the engine, not the petrol. If the engine is Maruti 800 or S500 Mercedes, the performance varies. And similarly, the car will reach the destination safely or meet with accident. That depends on the driver. It's got nothing to do with the petrol. Similarly, the self is only an enlivening factor. The body moves propelled by the mind and the intellect or the combination. This is what you will see in this next slide. So I'm going to talk about these things today. Some of you who have been attending my sessions for a long time might have heard this, but this will be a good recap for you. So what happens is, with the physical body, we act. Now, one more thing we need to understand. Action is the insignia of life. Inaction is death. Action is the insignia of life. Inaction is death. If you don't act, you will die. Any part of the body that has been kept inactive for a long period of time, it will die. So act you must. And your action is propelled by what? It is propelled by either the mind or the intellect or the combination. And what is the mind? Mind is the seat of feelings, emotions, impulses, likes and dislikes. And what is an intellect? Intellect is the ability to think, reason, judge, discriminate, analyze, etc. So you can either act impulsively or you can act after thinking. There may be an emotion, but the emotion will be combined with reason in some cases. In some cases, just emotion propels you. In some cases, just reason propels you without any emotion. But the ideal combination is emotion and reason should go hand in hand. That's the best way to function. So you see in the next slide, you can see the three transactions of life that all of us go through. It's called the receipt of stimuli from the external world, reaction that happens within, and we send out response back to the world. We are all like a mini factory. What happens in a manufacturing unit? The raw material comes from the world outside. From the world outside, the raw materials come into the factory. And then the raw material is processed inside the factory. And the finished product is sent back into the world for marketing. So, in the beginning, the raw materials come from the world outside. Then the raw material is processed within the factory. And then the factory sends out the finished product to the world outside. Similarly, what is happening? Our senses receive the stimuli from the world. See the next slide, you will understand. Receipt, reaction, response. Our tongue, eyes, nose, skin, ears, they receive taste, sight, smell, touch, sound, respectively. These stimuli are received. And through the senses, when the stimuli goes in, it goes and reaches the mind. These S1, S2, S3, S4, S5 are nothing but the sense centers which are in the mind. Okay. So this goes and gets registered there. And when it gets registered there, what happens? There is a reaction. Likes and dislikes happen. Within you, you say, this is nice. I like this. I don't like this. I dislike this. So now what happens is, many people, they immediately send out response through the likes and dislikes. I like it, so they jump. I dislike it, they withdraw. Not necessarily your likes are bad for you. Not necessarily your likes are good for you. Similarly, not necessarily your dislikes are good for you or bad for you. So you need to, therefore, what you have to do? You have to pass that likes and dislikes into intellect, to your intellect. And the intellect should reason, think, judge. Then you should send out response. If you don't pass it through the intellect and send out response, it's called impulsive response. If you send it out through the intellect, it's called proactive response. And you will send out the response back into the world through what? Through your organs of actions. So what is happening is the world sends the receipts into your system, then your system reacts, and then you're supposed to respond. You can either respond impulsively or proactively. Now, if you send out impulsive responses, what will be the effect of your life? Stress. If you send out proactive response, you will not have stress. So therefore, we say, you need to understand what is happening in you. This is what is happening in each one of us. So this is going through the mind, intellect, and coming out. Going through the mind, intellect, and coming out. So there is an outer personality, there is an inner personality, and then there is a real personality. The real personality is the Atma, the self. The inner personality is the mind, intellect. It's like the engine. So Atma, self can be compared to petrol. And then mind, intellect, the inner personality to the engine. And the body, organs of perception and organs of action, to the physical vehicle, the body of the car. This is exactly the human personality. This is what is happening. This mechanism we need to understand. It's happening day in and day out. And most of the time what is happening is we are quickly reacting without properly thinking. So here I would like to say two things. One is, a person who has not developed thinking or the intellect, they quickly send out response impulsively. They also do it very fast, but impulsive. But when you develop your intellect, when you strengthen your intellect, in the beginning you may take a little time to process, but slowly, as you have put in efforts to strengthening your intellect on a daily basis, over a period of time, you will also be able to do it quickly. But this quickly, we would use another word. It's called spontaneous. One is impulsive, other is spontaneous response. So in the initial stages, it may take some time, but slowly, your capacity increases, that you're able to spontaneously take decisions. But to come to that stage, you need to put in efforts. Otherwise, it's not possible. So that's what we are going to discuss today. Today, tomorrow, and tomorrow means next week, and then next to next week. So this is what is happening in us. So we need to really strengthen our personality. So if you don't, what happens is the mind wreaks havoc. Our mind wreaks havoc. Our mind is full of likes and dislikes. And what will the mind do? It will demand. I want my likes to be fulfilled. I don't want anything that I dislike to happen to me. This is how it destroys you. It constantly bothers you. I want likes and dislikes to be fulfilled. And then it rambles. It rambles to the past and future. Constantly, your mind, my mind, everybody's minds. Nature is what? The nature of the mind in Sanskrit is called as asthira and chanchala. Asthira means steady. Asthira means not steady. So, the mind is compared to monkey. Mind is compared to monkey. A monkey in the zoo, if you go, the biggest cage would be for the monkey, because it cannot stay in one place. It will be constantly jumping. So they need bigger space, larger space. This is what happens to our mind. It goes to the past one moment, next moment it goes to the future, seldom stays in the present. And another comparison for the mind is fire. How much ever ghee you pour into the fire, would the fire say, I've had enough? It will not say, I've had enough. It'll want more. Give me more, give me more, give me more. Dil mange more. The Pepsi ad says no. That's what happens. Constantly we keep asking. So it throws uncontrollable desires. And then we get into preferential attachment. People who are very nice to us, we say, I like that person. And then the other people who don't do what is according to our likes, we say, I don't like that person. I like this person, I don't like that person. I get attached. And they constantly have to cater to your likes, otherwise you will start hating them. So you are actually not loving them, you're only hating them. You're actually loving yourself. So these are all the problems of the mind. And if you give in to the mind too much, what happens is the attachment further becomes desire. See, in this slide that I put now, is one of the very interesting thoughts that Bhagavad Gita presents. It's called the ladder of fall. Verse number 62 and 63 of chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita is called the Yoga of Knowledge, Sankhya Yoga. In that 62nd and 63rd shloka, he gives this. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu upajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodot vijayate krodat bhavati sammohaha sammohat smriti vibhramaha smriti bhramshat buddhinashaha buddhinashat pranashyati. So what is happening is, how the whole thing starts, everything starts with a thought. You go to a party as a bachelor, let us say you are a bachelor, you are not married. You go to a party in the weekends. And there, lots of people have come and you like a particular girl whom you think is not married. So you start going closer to her and start striking a conversation and you start talking for a while. And then for almost 3-4 hours, you've been talking to her. Now, the party ends, she goes to her house, you go to your house. Then you go to brush your teeth before going to sleep. So you see the mirror there in the bathroom. Instead of seeing your reflection, you will see her face there. They show this in the Bollywood movies now. So what has happened is, she's gone to her house. You come to your house. But now what has happened is, she has gone into your head. This is called attachment, sangha. This is called attachment or sangha. And once you don't control it at that stage, the attachment becomes desire. Now you will say, I have to get married to her. Impossible. Otherwise, I can't live. This is desire. Then, if you come to know that there is another person who also likes that girl and probably that girl will marry him, what happens is you get angry with that fellow. Because he's intercepting your thought current from you to that girl. So anger is nothing but what? Thought current from you to the object of your love is intercepted by somebody and the thought current gets deflected to that person. The deflected thought current is called anger. And when you're angry, what happens? You completely get deluded. You don't know what you're talking. You're so angry, you will tell your boss, you keep your job, man. I don't need it. You keep it. And your boss knows that you've got so much loan, you have to pay for your children, this and that. So the boss is saying, Arey, think about it. Don't give this resignation letter today. Think about it. I'm not offended by whatever you say. He's kind to you, but you say, hey, you keep it, man. I don't need your job. You resign and come away. And he submitted it to the HR and it's all done. Now you are saying after a week, can I get the job back? You cannot. This is what happens when you're deluded. You lose the memory. You can't think properly. You lose your intellect. And when the buddhi is gone, buddhi nashat pranashyati. Remember that. Once the buddhi is gone, you're finished. So therefore, what Bhagavad Gita says is, Uddared atmanatmanam, natmanam avasadayet, atmaiva atmano bandhuhu, atmaiva ripur atmanaha. This is sloka number 5, chapter 6 of the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 6 of the Bhagavad Gita is called as Dhyana Yoga or the Yoga of Meditation. In this verse number 5, he says this. What is the translation of it? Let man lift himself by himself. Let him not lower himself. His self alone is his friend. his self alone is his enemy. What does it mean? His self means his personality, the limited personality, the body, mind, intellect complex is your friend if you have strengthened it. If you have not strengthened it, it becomes your enemy. This is what we need to understand. So I need to strengthen my personality. So what is that? If you don't strengthen, what happens? There are two states which are weak states. There's the third state, which is the strong state of the mind. It's called three states of mind. What are the three states of the mind? The first figure, if you see in the diagram that I've given you there, it talks about restless mind. The next one talks about imperfect mind. The third one talks about perfect mind. You get it? Restless, imperfect, perfect. What is restless? See, you see the cone over there. The cone is placed on the apex. Can you keep the cone on its apex for a long time? First of all, can you even make it stand on the apex? Anybody? Yes or no?
No.
No.
That is why you see in the diagram, it is showing it will fall down. So what is happening is a weak mind, a selfish mind, a non-thinking mind, mind means mind and intellect both. Emotional mind is selfish. It's thinking that the world should cater to me at all times. There should be no uncertainty. All my likes should be fulfilled. See, there is a farmer, let's say, who's praying to God for rain. And all of you are cricket enthusiasts. So there is a cricket match being organized and you are praying that there should be no rain. India-Pakistan match, there should be no rain. Now you tell me whose prayer God is going to answer. We don't know. There may be rain, there may be no rain. But if you are weak, if you say everything what I like has to be fulfilled, you are like this cone which is trying to stand on its apex. Not possible. You'll be constantly disturbed, restless. Whereas another person is not that bad. His mind is not that bad. And if you see in the second diagram there, it's called imperfect mind, where the cone is lying on its side. Now, can the cone lie on its side or not? Without any problem. It cannot lie, it cannot be made to stand on its apex, like the previous diagram. But can it be made to lie on the ground on its side? Yes or no?
Yes, but
Yes.
Yes,
will
why
not
are you so
roll.
doubtful? Yes. Okay.
Yes,
But
but
now
it will roll.
it will
Roll.
not necessary unless there is heavy wind or something blowing, or if you give a tap to it. If you give a tap, what happens? It starts rolling. This is what is happening. One set of people are full of likes and dislikes, selfishness, everything has to happen, happen according to their likes and dislikes. They will be constantly disturbed. They are restless state of mind. Other set of people are not that bad. They're relatively okay. They understand. But if somebody says something about them, they just say, "Arey yaar, tu pagal hai." Pagal hai? That's it. So what happens is sometimes you get disturbed for a day, sometimes you get disturbed for months, or maybe years. A lady who delivered a stillborn child, she recovered faster, but her in-laws and her parents, they hadn't recovered for more than 1 year. They did not recover for more than 1 year. So a situation was that she delivered a stillborn child. But she was probably disturbed a little bit in the beginning. And then she said, okay, she took it on a stride and moved on. But her parents and in-laws, they were so disturbed. Such a thing has happened. Why it happened? Why? Oh God, I did so much of puja, this thing, that thing. So they are relatively okay type people, but something happens, they get more disturbed. In the first case, even before anything happening, oh God, my desire should be fulfilled. Oh God, my desire should be fulfilled. Oh God, everything should be happening according. They are even worse. Second stage is they are not that much demanding. But something happens like this, they'll be finished. And the disturbance can last for hours or months or years, the whole lifetime also. There are people who get stressed and they don't come out. They destroy themselves. So the last diagram, if you see, it's called perfect mind. What is happening there? The cone is standing on its base, isn't it? So what we understand is a cone that is placed on its base can comfortably stand without any problem. So therefore, we got to broaden our thinking and deepen our thinking. As a human being, if we don't work on our personality, especially the outer personality as well as the inner personality, if we don't do that, then it's a problem. We'll either be in restless mindset or in imperfect mind. But to come to perfect mind, we need to broaden our thinking. A selfish fellow, he only thinks and works for himself. Maximum is family. Beyond that, he cannot think. Whereas an unselfish person will go beyond his family. He may think of community or country or human species. So like that, when you broaden your thinking, you understand, okay, this weather may not be good for me, but this weather is good for somebody else. Okay, because of the rain, the cricket match had to stop. Yes, I love to watch this match, but had to stop. It's okay. But probably the farmers need the rain, so it's good. So you will be able to immediately balance yourself, not get affected. You got it? But if you don't have that kind of an understanding, why this happened, why they talked about me like that, you will be constantly disturbed. In fact, children also go through peer pressure. And not just children, all of us go through peer pressure. Why this is happening? Because we don't think. Everybody must carry certain things. Otherwise, you feel that you'll be not looked up to. You do not have a strong knowledge base. Only if I carry a particular phone, otherwise, they don't respect me. And you are not able to buy that phone. So what are you doing? Begging, borrowing, stealing? All this creates problem for you. You beg also, problem. Stealing, problem. Borrowing, problem. You put yourself in stress. Why? Because you do not have broad base of thinking. This is the problem. We need to understand this. Otherwise, you'll be constantly blaming the world. Like I said, you'll either blame your parents or your children or society or the boss or the politicians. Somebody or the other we blame for our stress. While they could be changed, there could be a lot of things that could happen there which will make it better. But the main reason is our inner personality is not strengthened. Selfish it is. We are incapable of thinking. All these problems are there within us. So we need to first understand. How is it possible? Is the world designed to cater to one individual's likes and dislikes? There's so many billions of people there, and other than that, so many other species are there. World is made only for myself. Such a person will be constantly disturbed. Everybody must act according to my whims and fancies. They didn't agree to me. That's it. Finished. Isn't this happening in many people? And they'll be blaming, I don't know why these people are like this, like that. See, Lord Shiva has Neelkant. Neelkant, you know. Neelkant means blue-necked. Because when they churned the gods and demons together, they churned the Milky Ocean as per the Puranic story. When they churned the Milky Ocean, a lot of things came. Good things also came, negative things also came. So the poison came, called Alahala poison. When it came, Lord Shiva, who was a great tapasvi, he took it. His consort, goddess Parvati, arrested it at his neck level. So he got the name Neelkant. And if you see Lord Shiva, who's got Neelkant, above his head, there will be a moon. Moon means what? It gives you nice feeling, right? Cool. You say beauty, you always compare with moon. So positivity. Moon represents positivity. Now what the symbolism is telling us is, you should talk about the good things of others openly. But the bad things of others, you should not talk about it, nor should you take it to your heart and say, why are they like that, and suffer. So you should arrest the negative at the neck level. It should not go and affect your heart, nor should you openly talk about it so that you unnecessarily gossip, spread the negativity, and the other person about whom you are talking also gets disturbed. And you think, when I talk like this about others, I'll be happy. But the problem is, your mind will start immediately reacting. You know how it will react? Can anybody come up with the answer? How it will react? In a gossiping person's mind, what kind of reaction comes? Anybody?
It will try to find negativity in all the persons apart from that person for which we are talking about. Rather, it will start thinking about everybody. It will catch the negative aspects of other people instead of positive.
Not only that, that is correct. Not only that, but what I'm saying is, some reactions happen within them also. What is that? Negative reaction.
Jealousy.
No, what happens is, when I start talking ill about others, in my mind, I know that others may also talk ill about me. I don't want anybody to talk about me. See, this stress, a person who's always talking positive about everybody doesn't go through this kind of stress. He knows, but he also knows that, okay, if they talk, let them talk, but I will be positive. But a person who talks negative, he doesn't want anybody else to talk negative about him. But he knows he has got a lot of negativities. He knows that. And there may be people who talk about it. So he constantly stressed. Outside he shows maybe that he's confident and all, but inside he's heavily stressed. Anybody who's having a destructive mindset will be having stress. So to have a positive, constructive mindset is in our interest. We should develop that kind of a mindset because it is important for us. Just because, I have to develop positivity because I need to be good to people outside. No, first, if you are positive, it will be good for you. So therefore, these are the three states of mind: restless, imperfect, and perfect. So when you broaden your personality, you strengthen your personality, deepen your personality, you will be able to manage stress, and finally you will be able to eliminate stress. So what we need to do further to manage and eliminate, I'll talk about in the next two sessions. So today this much is enough. So if you have any questions, please do ask.
So now we open the house of question and answer session. If anyone have any questions, you may ask to Swamiji.
In the next two sessions, I'll talk about a lot of practical things. So I think we have decided just now, we were talking, we will have it on the 27th, which is next week, Tuesday. And after that, 4th October, which is a Tuesday. So try and see whoever attended today and last week, try and see if you can attend next week so that you'll get the full benefit. Any questions?
Hi, Swamiji. This is Menak out here. I have just, I want some, I would say, advice from your end rather than a question. Like in our profession, we always have stress related to time. Time is running out. Time is going out of our hand. What to do? I have only 24 hours. How to manage things? So, do you have any, I would say, tips on?
We will do one thing. We will do
Right.
time management after the stress management.
Okay.
Okay, after the 4 sessions.
Right.
But as you rightly said, time is only 24 hours.
Correct.
Whether you are the chairman of MPS, or you are the beggar on the road, or you're the prime minister of this country, or you're the president of America, everybody has only 24 hours. You cannot stretch that 24 hours. But what you can do is develop your personality to be able to finish your work within the 24 hours. What is happening is your mind is so disturbed. When I say you, I don't mean you, anybody.
Yeah.
When the mind is disturbed, it will take more time. When the mind is calm, you will do it, finish it fast. So we'll talk about it.
Okay. Pranam, Swamiji.
So does anyone else have any queries?
See, also, I had requested all of you to give the areas that give you stress. Don't feel bad. Nobody is going to think that you are useless or you are feeling stress for these small things. It doesn't matter. Ask if you have anything that is stressing you. We are all one family, right? So if you don't question, you will be in trouble. So you better question. If you have any situation that causes stress for you, even if it's a simple thing like traffic, please ask. Like this gentleman said, time is a problem. So please do ask. You send the email to the HR department, they'll share it with me. Then I can discuss that, certain things I can probably discuss those stress situations, how to handle them in a practical way, right? So don't feel bad. Don't think that what will they think about me if I say these things, nothing like that. So, okay, Taruna, it looks like nobody else has any questions. So can we conclude?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So thank you, Swamiji, for sharing your knowledge on various techniques to manage stress during difficult times. We have learned how to manage stress in personal and professional lives from today's session. Swamiji, once again, thank you so much to motivate us. We are looking forward to have another inspiring session in coming days. Dear MPS employees, thank you all for your active participation. We are confident that today's session will help you to manage stress actively. We will be sharing the details of next session in days, coming days. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.